Homovision.
Peter Tatchell, you came to Gay Pride. The first Gay Pride was in 1972. How's it actually changed, Gay Pride, since 30 years ago?
In 1972, when a small number of us organised the first ever Gay Pride march in Britain, it was a very nervous, anxious affair. Only 700 people turned up, and we fully expected that we might be beaten up or arrested by the police. In the end, there was a very heavy police presence, and it was very intimidatory, but apart from a handful of people, no one got arrested. In those days, of course, there was hardly any media reportage. It just wasn't regarded as news or of interest. The attitude of politicians was they wouldn't touch it with a barge pole. And of course, most importantly of all, it was a very political event. It was a party. We did have a carnival-style parade with lots of extravagant costumes and lots of people with cheeky slogans. It was fun, but it also had a very, very clear political message, and that was to demand an end to homophobic and transphobic discrimination. And we were really, really clear that, we had a big fight in our hands, and that we weren't going to give up until we won complete and total parity with our straight brothers and sisters. Today, in contrast, the Pride Parade is, very, very commercialised, very depoliticised. Last year, I was one of a handful of people who carried any kind of political banner or message. Most people are just there to have a good time. And celebration is fine. We've got lots to celebrate. We have made extraordinary achievements in the last decade with the legal reforms that have ditched decades or even centuries of homophobic and transphobic discrimination. But we ain't got equality yet. We still have a ban on same-sex marriage. Civil partnerships are not equality. A separate law is not an equal law. It's a form of sexual apartheid which has one law for straights, civil marriage, and a separate law for queers, civil partnerships. Two wrongs do not make a right. We've also, of course, got the ban on gay and bisexual men donating blood. Even men who perhaps had sex once 50 years ago, before the AIDS epidemic, people who've always practiced safer sex, who've tested HIV negative, they are banned for life from donating blood. That is a homophobic policy. It's not motivated or informed by medical or scientific evidence. The fact is that most gay and bisexual men do not have HIV, will never have HIV, and if they test HIV negative, they are perfectly safe to give blood.
Do you think Pride London now has actually forgotten the real issues of Pride, and they're just focusing too much on the art celebration and a festival rather than the actual political message?
I'm a patron of Pride London, but I'm disappointed at the way in which, on this 40th anniversary of the Stonewall riots, that tumultuous event in queer history is almost excised from the whole programme and festivities. It isn't in the Pride programme. There's no major event to commemorate it. It isn't featuring on the parade. It's come out and play or something anodyne like that. It really isn't good enough. If we don't know and understand and celebrate our history, who's going to? We have a real responsibility to the veterans who came before us to acknowledge their achievement, which has laid the foundations for the rights and freedoms we enjoy today. And we also have a duty to inspire the younger generation that radical direct action can change things for the better. That, the way LGBT refugees are badly treated by this government, often refused asylum and sent back to homophobic countries like Jamaica, Nigeria, Uganda, Iraq, and so on. We don't have to put up with it. We can challenge it, and if we do, we can win.
Well, my generation, for a start off, they see Pride as, it's not political, it's more like a party time. Do you think we're creating problems for ourselves in the future?
I think there is this assumption that we've made these historic gains in the last decade, and that inevitably we just let history run its course and all the other discriminations will eventually evaporate. That's not the way things always work. There's no guarantee that the gains we've won cannot be taken away, never mind the fact that we will automatically get the other unresolved issues of discrimination addressed in the future. We will only secure our freedoms if we are vigilant and if we keep up pressure. That's the lesson of history. If you look back to Germany in 1930, Berlin was the queer capital of the world. It had gay organisations, newspapers, magazines, loads of bars and clubs, a huge vibrant culture. But within 3 years the Nazis came to power and all that was taken away. And the whole of history was put into reverse, with gay people being carved off to concentration camps within the first year of Hitler assuming the chancellorship. So the lesson is very clearly, don't assume what we've got will last forever.
Also, the actual Pride route is just do you think it's just going through a safe area down Oxford Street, Regent Street? Do you think we should change it every year to go to different areas of London, and meet communities where probably won't even acknowledge gay people or actually meet gay people in real life? Do you think we should change it to the East End, or just each year change the actual route to get more communities involved?
I've got nothing against having an arts festival and having a large cultural dimension to Pride, but not if it's at the expense of the civil liberties and human rights issues that affect our communities. I also think it's great that we have a march through the heart of London, but you're absolutely right. Sometimes it might be appropriate to have other events, or even the main event, in different parts of London where we can engage with real communities, like in the East End of London, like in North London, South London, West London. It'd be great for our event to be seen not just by tourists and Saturday shoppers in Oxford Street and Regent Street, but also be seen by the wider population, the people who live in this city, the people who we need to convince in order to secure a safe and friendly and gay affirmative capital.
Okay, finally as well, it's Boris Johnson's first year in London, well, first year as Mayor of London. How would you judge his first year?
Boris hasn't been the monster that some people portrayed, but he hasn't really been on the ball either. I think his understanding of LGBT issues and community groups is still pretty poor. The quarterly forum is really not a forum. It's not an instrument or mechanism by which LGBT organisations can actually engage with the mayor, put forward proposals and have a genuine dialogue. It's very much just a forum for the mayor to communicate his point of view to the LGBT community. There isn't really a two-way feedback and communication, so that's really bad. I think also, just over the invitations to the mayoral launch of LGBT Pride London, so many key people and organisations in the Pride organisation and the wider community have not been invited, and that's just because so many of Boris's staff are pretty clueless about the LGBT community. Ironically, many of them are themselves gay, but they've never ever been involved in LGBT community organisations, and therefore they don't really know who to invite, and they're not really up to speed on the current issues. Of course we should keep on pressing them, but you'd expect more from a mayor of a great city like London.
Okay, finally as well, just outline the main issues in like a sentence, what we need to prepare ourselves for in the next forthcoming years.
The key issues to me are ending the ban on same-sex marriage and the ban on gay and bisexual blood donors, ensuring better treatment for LGBT refugees fleeing persecution in homophobic countries, making sure the police actually enforce the law against incitement to violence and murder and not allow fundamentalist clerics or reggae hate singers to advocate our murder. And very, very importantly, we need to make sure that homophobic bullying in schools is properly addressed and is treated not as bullying but as the hate crime that it is. Because if these actions were being perpetrated against people outside a school environment, they'd be treated as criminal offences. Bullying is a crime and the police should treat it as such.
Okay, also, if I'm bored, if I'm a gay man, I'm bored of like the whole Pride floats, I'm bored of like, an arts festival, I'm bored of just the commercialisation. What can I do to make a difference?
Turn up with a placard which expresses your demand and concern about a human rights issue. Make sure that it isn't just about party, 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 but that there is a political message on the parade.
Homovision.